Hi, yeah, I'm Steffen. I'm co-founder and CTO of Applanga, and what we've built is a platform to automate app localization. To understand why we did that, I mean, I guess there's some app developers in the room, right? So maybe you already know what's broken with app localization. Yeah, kind of everything is broken. So to understand the process, like there's typically 5 steps of app localization. So the first one is the extraction. So you need to get the strings out of your app and need to get them into some kind of manageable form. That could be in the easiest way an Excel file, could be a Google Sheet, or if you are a bit more sophisticated, you have some kind of web translation management platform where the strings are managed and your team has access. Then you give it up for translation. That could be either done like with your team or with external translators. Then there's integration and testing. It's obvious, release and maintenance, because yeah, after the release is before the release, but in every step there's so much stuff that can go wrong. Like with the extraction, it's a manual process. There's no real standard, so many companies have their own tools, their own bash scripts to get the stuff out. In iOS, you have your strings typically in string files. You need to convert them. In Android, it's XML files. If you manage to do this correct, which you are already lucky, then you have the problem that in the translation process, you lose context, so your translators typically don't know your app, especially if it's external ones. If it's internal ones, still, it might be people in your team that never saw the version of the app that they need to translate, so that's also prone for errors. And with the integration, you have the same problems with the extraction. You might miss some strings, you might mess up formatting, you might have translators, like as I said, in Android, for example, is XML, you might have translators that accidentally put some tags into your files and then break the whole app. So, and most of the time, there's actually the developer needs to find out, hey, why does this translation now break my app? What's wrong? And they spend a lot of time with it. If you did go through the process and you managed, like in the testing process, managed to find all the issues, which is also problematic because your QA team doesn't necessarily know all the languages that you translate your app in. If you manage to release, that can take quite a while on the App Store. And then you might have customers telling you, hey, the stuff that's in your app doesn't make sense. And then you need to go back to square one, extraction again, and do the whole translation process again. You need to communicate with your translators. And this is very complicated. That's mainly the reason why we've put Applanga. Like, as I said, all these processes are manually. And with Applanga, we try to automate these processes as much as possible. That looks like we have an SDK that goes into your app, and on App Start, it automatically finds all translatable strings and automatically uploads them to our dashboard, where you then can manage them, and you can also automatically push them back into your app, so you don't need to make extra app builds. We have a special testing mode, we call it draft mode, where your translators can set your app in a draft state where you can preview the translations without your actual users seeing them. So you can test everything, you can preview everything, and then when you're ready, you can put it live. So the process, one second. Process with Applanga is kind of the same one. We have a lot of cool customers, and demo time. Yeah, for the demo, I will quickly show you the integration. So we are using Cocoa Pods on iOS. Typically, you can also do it manually, but with Cocoa Pods, it looks like this. You are adding the pod. Hard time to see it. I will show you, like the app that I'm showing you is a little recipe app, actually. Like, we're using it for sample purposes, pretty simple, has some recipes and ingredients and stuff like this. So to integrate the SDK, you add the pod and then you do pod update. Then we integrate, downloading the SDK from the Cocoa Pods repository, like all is automatic, you don't need to write code besides this pod file. When the SDK is in, you should actually get a warning when you start the app the next time saying that you're missing a settings file. Hope that works. Yeah. So you need the Applanga settings file. Applanga settings file is actually the part of the like the SDK needs to know like how to connect to the backend. So the first thing you see at Applanga when you log in is this, and this forces you to create an app. We call it Mahlzeit, like the app that we have here. Base language is English. It's English for 95% of all apps we created, and then doing prepare release. Prepare release is giving you the settings file. Copying the settings file into the app. So, looks like this. And now if I restart the app, it should actually, like the integration is done, and now it should upload all the stuff to the backend. This might take a little bit. Okay, successfully initialized, and then there should be another message stating, yeah, everything uploaded. Yeah, updated missing translations. And now when I go to the dashboard again, I should actually see, yeah, right, all the strings in my app and found everything. Yeah. And now if I want to add a language, it's actually pretty simple. I'm adding one here, and we'll be adding German. So now yeah, my app is translated to German. Not really, but I need to add some translations. Let's see what's the first thing in the app. Vegetable hash browns. Where is it? Ah, here. So as I said, we have like two modes. We have a draft mode and the live mode. So I will add a draft. Was ist das Plätzchen? Yeah. So proper translation, I guess. So now I need to bring my app into draft mode. That looks typically on the device, looks like you press 4 fingers and you need to enter a key. Here on the simulator, I'm pressing 2 fingers. What? Ah, yeah. So it should be 5 seconds, and there should be a pop-up where I need to enter a key. Key is found on the dashboard here. Entering, oh, what? 62cc. Oh, now I need to restart the app. Yeah, that's normal. Like I need to like really start from the beginning. And then, yeah, I also need to bring the device into German, actually. Yeah. Oh. Sorry, missed that part. Yeah.
You know that you're German if you call your app Mahlzeit.
Yeah, we actually saw that's a pretty funny name, you know.
No, it is, but I'm saying you want to.
German. Deutsch. Change to German. So I also could have also shown like changing the text in the base language. That's also possible, but you can quickly change stuff. Also, yeah, fixing some text that you might have messed up in the normal language. So now it didn't work because yeah, maybe. How do I? Yeah, how do I do it in the simulator actually?
I think we have to just trust you that it works because.
Yeah, wait.
No, you have an angry crowd that cannot watch the game.
Yeah, okay.
Come on, guys. When he does it, you can start asking questions.
Yeah, maybe I try to fix it and then.
So questions, guys.
A question here. So assuming that I am a business that I have a mobile app, and then when I use your app, like who is going to be responsible for inputting the correct translation, like my tech writer or my developer?
Yeah, as I said, there's no need for importing the translation. While the developer is developing the app and adding new strings, they are automatically uploaded.
And then your translator or anyone from your team can translate. So you can invite people to work on the translation.
Yep.
It's not supposed to be the developer.
Yeah, that's maybe
Okay.
a part that I missed. Like we have team management, so you can add translators, you can add people from your team, or you can add external people. If you need to work with an external agency that needs some files, we are also supporting import and export of XLIF. That's like typical format that all of them can handle.
Yeah, so for customer-facing information, such as exception messages that will pop up in the app, is it translatable as well?
Which one?
For those error messages that we customers will encounter, like exception messages.
Yeah, sure. It's everything is translatable.
Okay, thank you.
Next question.
How do you discover which strings or which parts of the app you can actually translate? And does it only work for, or also does it work on native apps? Because I saw you had like area games on your company profile.
Yeah, sorry, does it work on what?
Native apps that use like C++ or something along those lines.
Not yet. Like on area games, we have an Android SDK, we have an iOS SDK, we have a Flash SDK. We are also working on a Java SDK, like a C++ SDK, not yet. But what we also have, like plus the SDKs, we also have an API. So you theoretically could hook up with the API. So we also have like customers that are using it to have their whole like also websites and everything translated. But typically, like it's not our main business.
We need to move on, else I get into trouble. So give him a hand. Thanks so much.